All right, welcome to a Scalable Challenge Lab for AZ-104. This one is titled, Can You Provision a Serverless Container-Based Environment? And during this lab, we're going to see that yes, we can, and we will be doing it in a couple of different ways. This is recorded a bit out of sequence because there was some trouble with this particular lab when we did the original ones, but now it seems to be working. So yeah. Let's see what this is all about. And we're going to start off by creating a container registry. We're trying to kind of simulate having a container-based application here. Of course, in reality, we will just be copying an existing application. So we've got two resource groups here. I need to be careful that I select the correct one for the container registry. And we're going to give the registry a name, which is ACR followed by the project number. And then I think East US should be okay. So let's go. Oh yeah, we needed to do the tier should be basic, right? Not standard. There we go. All right, that is complete. Our next job is to enable admin user access and then write down the password. So let's just go to our container registry directly. And if I remember correctly, we can do that under settings and access keys. Yeah, so there's this toggle here called admin user that basically allows us to connect using the registry name as the username, and then a password using kind of normal Docker Hub compatibility. So I set it on here, and now I see two passwords. So I'm just going to copy paste down this password because I'm going to need it later on when we push some stuff over to this registry. Okay, that's done. So let's go to Bash. In the lab, we're told to use a specific storage account for this, which is here in the resource group. And then we want to create a file share called bash. All right, that is done now. So there is a pre-created Docker host or Docker VM here in this lab environment. And now we're supposed to SSH into that. So let's do that. I have the username and host name here. Copy pastable. And then I have the password here as well. There we go. Now we're inside. Let's just make this a bit bigger. We don't need the Azure portal for our purposes. So next, what we want to do is log in to our ACR. And we can do that using Docker login, right? So Docker login, and then the name of our container registry followed by azure.cr.io. We could also see that over here. Over here. Right? This is the server here. That's the same. Cool. If we just do this, then it'll, pull us for the username and password. Now, the username is going to be the registry name, right? ACR, blah, blah, blah. And then the password is the one that we just copy pasted down from the portal. There we go. Login has succeeded. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to pull a image from Docker Hub. And the image itself is actually going to be matlods /example service 1.0. And then we want to push that to our container registry. In our case, this is just an example, right? So we're not really doing even any changes here. But the way that this works is we need to tag this particular image that we've downloaded based on our container registry, right? So we do it like this, / and then let's say example service .o, right? That's good enough. And now we can push. This particular tag. All right, so now we have a copy of that thing in our container registry. If you don't believe me, I think we can go here and then take a look. There you go. Here is our example service, and 1.0 was just uploaded. Okay, so now we have our copy of the app of the image in our container registry. So next up, what we're going to do is we're going to get some infrastructure to run our stuff. Okay, so let's do it first using a container instance. And let's make this small. And let's say that we're going to use the console for this one. So container instance is ACI for me. We want to create one. We want to use the Arch resource group. We want to name it CI followed by the project number. I think we're happy with East US, the SKU, everything like that. It's going to come from ACR, right? This is the container registry, and it automatically selected the only image and tag that are available. Linux is fine. 1 vCPU, 1.5 gigs of memory is perfect. On the networking side, we want to have port 8080 available. And then on the monitoring side, we're going to remove instance logs because we don't have a log analytics workspace for our purposes here. That should be it. So let's try and create this. There we go. ACIs are normally fairly quick to deploy. So I think this took like, how long did it take? A minute, maybe, including everything. So fairly nice. Now if we go to our ACI instance, we can see our IP address over here. Okay. So next, let's try to do the same thing using an application service. So we're going to need we're going to do it with Bash this time. So this is a bit different than the normal demo, but I think it's nice so that you actually see that, you know, it's not that difficult using the AZ CLI either. And we're going to start by creating a app service plan, right? And it's not that difficult. AZ app service plan, create, right? And then we have a couple of options. I'm looking at the documentation here. So we need to give it a name. The name was CWAASP. Then we want it to be Linux. So that's is Linux. Oops, is -Linux. Then we want the resource group. To be the other one, so the container mod one, okay. And then we need the SKU to be S1. I think that's everything. Oops, wrong instance. I'm still in the Docker host. So now I'm back in Cloud Shell. Let's just copy paste this. Try again. Okay, that seemed to work. So next up, let's create the actual web app itself. Again, looking at the documentation a bit here. So AZ web app create. Name is going to be CWA followed by the project number. Then the plan is going to be the one that we just created. It was CWA ASP. And the resource group was the container allowed one. And then we're asked to use the deployment container image name, which is actually deprecated. Or it still works, but it's going to be deprecated soon, to refer to the container image that we want to deploy from Docker Hub, right? You can see, yeah, it is deprecated, but it still works. So we're going to use it for now. And that's actually what the instructions say as well. There we go. That should be done. So we can, of course, also view stuff from the portal in case you're insecure about what has happened here. So first of all, let's go to App Services. We're going to see that we have an app service plan called CWA ASP, and we have an app called CWA 481694040. And that has been deployed on that domain, and everything seems to be kind of okay. It seems to be running and so on. Right. One thing that we could do next is set up the app service logs. I always have trouble finding them. They're somewhere here. I think they're under monitoring. Yeah, like the last thing here is app service logs. A little bit kind of hidden. It's not under logs, not under configuration, but kind of app service logs down here. And this basically makes it possible for us to log locally on the app service instance, right? So we can say, automatic retention of, let's say, 365 days for our logs, and they're going to be held locally on the hard drive of that system. Maximum quota 35 megs. So that's done. Cool. Then now we can actually test stuff. So if you're going to go back here and go to our website, here is our app, and now we can actually test if this can talk to the other app, which was at 4. Blah, 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 and port 8080. We can do a ping there. And yes, it works. So it is happy with this stuff. Okay. So that's it. In this lab, we created a container registry, and then we copied some image into that. And then we deployed that image in two different ways. Once on ACI, a fairly quick thing that doesn't have any extra bells or whistles. And then again as an app service. And we did that from the CLI just to add a bit of complexity to the task. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next lab. Till then.